mind one thought at a time.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Changing Minds Online Sunday night inspirational call. How are you doing tonight, Akina?
I'm doing great. How about yourself, Jessica?
I'm doing really well. You know, it feels great coming from a nice long weekend, and I'm sure a lot of people who are tuning in live tonight also had a nice long weekend, and I know you did as well. It's always a great time of the year to really just focus on what we have and what's working in our lives and, you know, what we're grateful for. And, you know, as I'm driving home tonight from church, I see all the lights on, the Christmas lights and everything. And, you know, we're entering into that holiday season. It's just a wonderful, really amazing time of year to really focus on what we're grateful for and how amazing our lives are and what we really want to create and what our intention is for the next year. So many exciting things.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, tonight, and we are going to announce something exciting. So many of you who are tuning in, maybe you're listening for the first time and you don't know, or maybe you are connected with us on Facebook and on our email, so you know about our exciting announcement we had over this weekend. And that was the launch of a new product, a new book we put out called Affirmations On Demand, 1,000 affirmations to change your mindset and change your life. We want to just really talk about this book tonight. We want to really go over what we put out there, how we're going to use it, but also just talk a little bit about affirmations in general. So affirmations, before we get into like what this book is and why we think you should just jump online right after this call and pick this book up, affirmations have been such a big, big part of my life. And Akina, I know they have been for you as well. And obviously, this is our second product on affirmations. If you look at our Changing Minds Online webpage, our Facebook page, if you're not on there, connect with us. We put out affirmations every day. You know, one of the things that I have learned most in my journey is that prior to really changing my life, I had defined myself in a way that was incongruent with what I wanted to create. And so whatever I put after I am, it wasn't in harmony with what I wanted. So I wanted to be wealthy, and yet I was saying I'm broke. I can't afford to pay my bills. I have no money. And the result was that I was broke. I had no bills, and I had no money, and I couldn't afford to pay my bills, right? That was the result. And I would put that nobody loves me, and I am not lovable, and I don't have good relationships, and I'm not great at having friendships. And the result was I had, you know, people in my life who were not true friends or took advantage of me, and I wasn't in loving, peaceful, and great relationships. And then when I changed what I was saying, I was. And I really just wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the power of using affirmations, the power of what you're putting after I am. And I know that this is something we've talked about before, but we're really going to go into great detail tonight on some of the ways that we use affirmations and some of the powers that affirmation can really have over your life. So we're going to jump right into things. And Akina, I know that you as well have had a really amazing journey with affirmations, and you use them as much as I do. So if you want to talk a little bit, I just talked a little bit about how affirmations played a big role in my life. Can you talk a little bit about how they played a role in your life?
Oh, certainly, Jessica. I was a person that didn't really believe that people were interested in what I had to say because, I got ignored a lot as a child. I was one of the little children with the big glasses and the little nerdy outfits and all this, that, and the other. So, I got ignored a lot. And so I would say stuff and it would just be crickets. And and once that happens to you a certain amount of times in your life, you start believing that this is true, And, because as they say, seeing is believing, right? Started getting into adulthood, and I realized that I couldn't function like that. I couldn't function as a mute. I had to talk. I had to get my message out. I had to speak to the world. And so I started with a book on affirmations and, how they empowered the life. And as I started reading them and as I started focusing on them and my confidence started building, it was so, so powerful because I started believing the things that I was saying because I realized that they were true. You know, I am powerful. I am enough. I am smart. I am loving. All of these things that I was saying, I started, you know, believing them not only in my mind but in my heart, because I knew that this was the person that I was really inside, that I really was inside, and I had been pushing that person down for years. And that person was ready to get out. So the more I started saying those affirmations, the more that person got powerful, and more of the weak one started diminishing, and the more my powerful self started emerging. And as soon as the powerful person woke up, it was all guns blazing. And since then, I've been moving in upward mobility. So, yes, affirmations have truly helped me in my life. You know, this was a great topic, Jessica. You know, people just really don't know how powerful affirmations are.
Yeah, I love it, Akina, and I totally agree. And, you know, I had a similar story, with affirmations, and I shared it before in this podcast. And if you've heard it, I'll share it again. It's really powerful, and if you haven't, you know, listen up, because this is really big, and it can really affect you. You know, when we put out our first affirmation and gratitude journal, and I've shared why we are so big on affirmations, and for me, why I'm so big at affirmations, why I'm so big with using affirmations. So when I first started hearing about affirmations, I learned about them for the first time. Someone who I respected and admired and had gone to for mentoring, you know, said to me, well, tell me about yourself. And I had told her about myself. And she said, okay, well, what about this and what about that? And I was putting words after I am, like I said, that were not congruent with who I was as a person, like who I wanted to be. And she said to me, you know, you're committing blasphemy by what you're saying. And I was like, I'm doing what? Like, I didn't get what she was saying. And she says, okay, I want you to think about it biblically, right? She said, when Moses asked God, like, who are you? Like, what's your name? What did he say? And you may know and you may not know, and it doesn't really matter if you know the story or if you're Christian for that matter. But God said, I am that I am. You know, I am the great I am. So I am. I am is really powerful. You know, we know, and I believe that I'm made in the image of God, which means that I have the attributes of God in the sense that I am the same as who God is. So God is love, right? God is peace. God is joy. God is pure. God is all these things. He is selfless. He is giving. He is respectful. You know, I'm just like, I want to look through this affirmation list we have in our book here and start reading them, because I believe God is all of these attributes. God is abundant. God is authentic. God is beautiful. God, you know, he gives blessings. He is certain. He is unchanging. He's clear. You know, God is confident. He's creative. Look at the world around us, right? God is faith. God is forgiving. God is free. God is, you know, always growing and expanding in our lives. God is happy. You know, God has perfect health. He's always healing. He is honest. He is limitless, right? He is patient. He is prosperous. He is powerful. All of these things. You can read all these wonderful comments, right? If anyone was asked to, you know, define what the attributes of God are, or to state what the attributes of God are, no one's going to be saying God is broke. God can't pay his bills. God is limitless. God is quick-tempered. God gets angry easily. God has bad relationships. You wouldn't say those things. It just don't work, right? So if we are made in the image of God, and we have within us that we have the power of God within us, when we are at our highest self, because we're connected to that force, right? We're connected to that God power within us, that divine, you know, birthright we have to be connected to God and to have his attributes and have his power, is to do what he can do. And, you know, I'm Christian, so if you want to believe this, if you don't want to believe this, but I believe that, like, God gives us all the power to do what he has to do. And biblically we know that Jesus tells us, like, I'm leaving the world, but I'm leaving you in the world. I'm giving you my power, and you can do bigger things than I ever did. And that's amazing to think about that, right? That God told us, I'm leaving the world, but hey, you know what? I'm leaving you here. You're going to do bigger and better things than I ever did in this world. If you know the stories of the Bible, it's amazing to think that the God that created this world is telling you you can do bigger and better things. But the only way that that's ever going to happen for you, and I truly believe that you can do anything that you want, but the only way that it's going to happen is when you're connected to that God force energy, when you're connected to that lifeline, you're connected to the source, the essence of who you are and the essence of who you're created to be. That's the only way. So the only way that you're going to achieve that connection to that source was you're in harmony with the attributes of God. So if you're saying anything other than I am, what you're saying is I'm not connected to who God is. Or you're saying that God is those things, right? Because if you're made in the image of God and you're saying I am poor, I am scarce, I am quick-tempered, I am not patient, I have bad relationships, I'm not perfect, I'm anything less than perfect and beautiful and abundant and limitless and creative and powerful. If you're anything less than that, either you're saying, well, God is not those things, or you're saying you're not made in his image. So either way, right, my mentor taught me I was committing blasphemy by saying anything other than that. And I said, okay, that's amazing. Well, I don't want to do that. And for me, and that's the cool thing about it, for me it had actually nothing to do with me. When I started using affirmations, because I didn't believe at that point, I didn't have enough self-worth and self-value when I started using affirmations to actually believe I was those things. But I didn't want to disappoint God. I was like, okay, you know what, maybe I can't do it for me right now, but I'm going to try to do it for him. I'm going to try. And for me, it was a few things that I really, really struggled with, and that was beauty. And I didn't see myself as beautiful, and so I wasn't as a kid, and I'm not ashamed to say that, and I believe that. I believed people who told me my entire life growing up that I was ugly, there was something wrong with me, and because of some physical abnormalities I have as a result of the medical issues I have, which are not really super apparent, but in my mind I created them to be really a big deal when they weren't. And I thought, they made it so I wasn't beautiful. I believed that I was ugly, and I defined myself that way. So this was the big one for me. I am beautiful. The biggest one. And, this podcast, I'm really willing to share and be vulnerable and authentic because I know that there's people listening in that are also there and who can benefit from that. And I don't even care, what you think of me. If you think less of me, whatever. Honestly, shame on you. But, I'm going to be, I said from the beginning of this podcast, if you've been following me, I'll be as honest as I need to be to support you and help you to become successful and reach your greatest, because that's what we're doing this for. But there were days prior to me using these affirmations, in not even I'm not talking about when I was a teenager. I'm talking about in my late 20s, only a few years ago. There were days when I would get dressed up and get ready to go to a party, and I would do my hair, I would do my makeup, and I would put on clothes that were thousands of dollars that I couldn't afford, that I still haven't even paid my debt for. That and I would wear the Fifth Avenue clothes I bought in Chanel and Louis Vuitton shoes, and I would wear all these things and makeup I couldn't afford, and get my hair done, and I would look at myself in the mirror, and I just couldn't love myself, and I would think I was ugly, and I would cry, and I would call my friends that I was supposed to meet and just say I'm sick, I can't go. I go to the party because I just couldn't. I wasn't in harmony with my source. I wasn't connected to God. I thought I was because I was going to church and I was a leader of church, but I clearly wasn't, right? If I was looking in the mirror at something that someone God created, I was looking at the image of God because we have God within us, and I was saying, no, this is ugly. You're ugly. You can't go out to a dinner. I saw myself as so invaluable. I couldn't even go to meet friends for dinner. I mean, it's crazy. Now I think it's crazy, and that's where I was. So for me, when I first started using this affirmation, I am beautiful, I looked into the mirror and I just laughed. At first I thought it was just the stupidest thing I ever heard of in my entire life. I really did. I thought my mentor had absolutely just lost her mind. I'm like, this woman is nuts. She wants me to stand in front of my mirror and to look in it and say, I am beautiful. I'm like, this chick had too much to drink. I'm like, really? I don't know why I'm asking her for advice. This is completely insane. I'm like, this is really just crazy. Like, I can't do this. This is nuts. But I did it anyway. Because you know what? Sometimes it's just trusting the process. Sometimes you don't really have to know why you're doing things. Like, you just look at successful people, and they're successful, and you want to be successful. So even if what they say seems absolutely insane, just do it. Stop questioning it, because clearly they have more figured out than you are if you're listening to them, because they've done something you want to do that you haven't done yet. So get over yourself. Just do it. So I was like, you know what? I think this woman is nuts, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I'm just going to trust the process, and I'm just going to do it because, you know, she makes more money than me, so maybe she knows better. So I was looking in the mirror. I am beautiful. And I was like, all right, this is stupid. All right, I am beautiful, and I would do it every day. I am beautiful, and this is absolutely crazy, all right? And I would think it would be funny. I would just laugh at myself and be like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, that's nuts. I was, like, ready to commit myself because I just thought it was so silly. But then something amazing happened, right? I would look in the mirror, and one day I said it, and I started to cry. I started to cry. The next day I did it, and I started to cry again. I did it again, and I started to cry, and I started to get angry, like really angry, and I started to be really uncomfortable. Like, it kind of like, honestly, and I shouldn't even say this in the podcast, but I'll say it anyway, it like sucked. It really did. And it hurt. Like, I started to feel resistance. I started to feel change, and it was really uncomfortable. Like, it just didn't feel good. It didn't feel good at all. And I'm sitting here, and I'm like, this chick wants me to do affirmations, right? And now I'm angry with her because I'm like, she wants me to feel good. She wants me to sit in the mirror and say I am beautiful, and she thinks it's going to feel good. And this doesn't feel good. So I was mad. This doesn't feel good at all. I don't like this. This is not pleasant. This doesn't feel right. And I realize now that, right, that was the pain of resistance. That's where it started to change. And one of the things I'm most grateful for in my personal development journey is that I didn't give up then, because most of you will. You know, some of you are going to get off this call and you're going to get inspired, and you're going to buy our like $6 book, and you're going to get really excited about it. You're going to take this book home, and you're going to read all the stuff that resonates with you, and then the ones that don't, you're going to skip over them. And when you do read them and it doesn't feel great, you're going to give up, and you're going to stop, and you're going to throw the book out and complain that, you know, we lied to you and that it's not going to work. That's what most of you will do who buy the book. The bottom line is some of you are going to get this book, and you're going to read the ones that don't feel great, that hurt, and you're going to read them until they stop hurting, until you start to believe it, until it starts to be true for you. Because the thing about it is that if you actually want your mindset to change, you have to be willing to go through that process. You have to be willing for it to hurt, because change is uncomfortable, right? Your body is designed, literally your neurology is designed for you not to change. You're resisting, like, the way you were designed, like your human nature. You're resisting everything, your nature, in order to create something beautiful, in order to create who you want to be. But times that hurts, you know, and sometimes it doesn't feel good, but it's really, really worth it. So I went from that process. As first I thought it was funny, then I thought it was sad, and then I thought I was angry, and then I started to believe it, you know, and I stopped buying things I couldn't afford, and I stopped calling friends, and I stopped saying, like, hey, I can't go out anymore, and I started, like, going out feeling great, and I wasn't even wearing makeup sometimes, and I would go to the gym and I would feel good, and I would look in the mirror and I would notice that I was actually pretty beautiful. Like, I would notice that, like, body parts that I've always hated, other people looked at me and envied. I'd noticed I had abs that I never even realized were there, and it felt really great. And I got my power back because I got in alignment with my source. I got connected to God. I got connected to the fact that I am perfect, that God didn't mess up when he made me, you know, that he didn't make a mistake, right? He made me perfectly. He made me who I'm supposed to be for my purpose that I was intended to live. And it felt really, really good. And that's where affirmations made a big difference in my life. And I know that they can make a really big difference in your life too. And I wanted to share that story with you not because it's fun for me to talk about how I stood in front of a mirror and laughed and cried and that I was afraid to go out with my friends, like not because it's easy to in front of the thousands of people who are going to listen to this podcast to say that, but I'm willing to share that with you because I know that they can make a difference for you too. And it doesn't need to be as extreme as my story, right? But there's something in your life that's not perfect. And I know that because you're human and because you're listening to this podcast. And you wouldn't listen to a podcast called Changing Minds Online if there wasn't something that you want to change in your life, right? But people like us who are committed to making their lives better, we do these things. You know, we're willing to go outside and be uncomfortable so we can change our lives. And for me, I just know affirmations is a really, really powerful way to do it. So, you know, Akina, I know I shared a big part of my story, so I don't know if there's anything you want to add as well, you know, before we jump in with how to use this new book and how to get this book that we've created.
You know, I just want to piggyback off of your story. You know, that makes a lot of sense. You know, I had a lot of those insecurities and doubts and things about myself as well, and I had to realize that my comfort zone is smaller than my purpose in life. Me being uncomfortable was the least of my worries. I had a message and a mission that I have to fulfill. And me being uncomfortable is the thing that should not keep me from doing this. And affirmations truly helped me to figure that out. And I look forward to talking about how everybody can use this book because you will be amazed at the changes that you'll feel as you're going through this. You know, I'm holding my book right now. I've been holding it since Friday, and I've been reading through the pages. It's one thing to read it while you're making it, but it's another thing to read it as, you know, someone who is going through the process, feeling the affirmations, feeling how you feel as you say them, holding them in your heart and letting yourself meditate on these things. That is what we're going to talk about today and how to use this book. So, Jessica, I know you wrote a part in the book about how to use it and the mission of the book. So, can you enlighten us?
Absolutely, Akina, thank you. And I just want to agree, like, it's so different to actually have the book and read it. I actually use not only, in this book, obviously we just released this book. I got my copy yesterday. But so our 90-day affirmation and gratitude journal, I use that book every day. And it's amazing because sometimes I read the pages I wrote and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I like this. And I don't even really almost remember writing it, but I still use it and I'm still inspired by it and what you've written as well. But, you know, this book, what this was inspired by is from, and I must have gotten this book when I was very young, when I got a Bible promise book. I think I was very early in my Christian journey in college. And it's basically where, and if you don't know what that is, and maybe you do, so maybe you already kind of have an insight, but it's basically a list of topics and then Bible verses that relate to those topics. So there's verses about peace, there's verses about faith, there's verses about, you know, money, there's verses about anything really, you know, friendship, verses about forgiveness, about freedom, about gratitude, happiness, health. So if you were in a situation in your life where, let's just say you're fighting with your mom and, you know, it's Thanksgiving and she's being difficult for whatever reason, you know, not that my mother was being difficult this Thanksgiving, but let's just say, for instance, she was, I would say, okay, you know what, I really need patience right now. I'm really frustrated. I kind of want to, like, not go to Thanksgiving or do something crazy. So I'm just going to read these verses in the Bible about patience. So I'd open my Bible promise book up and I would look up the index where it said patience and I would read this verse about patience. And then I would feel better, right? There'd be a bunch of verses listed, maybe like 10 verses listed. And so then I would maybe have another verse, another day where I would, you know, kind of be sad. Maybe something happened, someone I cared about passed away, or, something happened in my life, or I wasn't happy, and so I would read a verse about being happy or being joyful. So I said to myself, I love that book, and I use my Bible Promise book, and I will continue to use it on a daily basis because I love the scriptures, and I think you should be reading them every day. I really do. But I love affirmations. I mean, they're a huge part of my journey. And I said, wow, wouldn't it be helpful? Wouldn't it be fantastic if this Bible Promise book, if I had affirmations based on that? And here's the thing about it, right? Every day we have a different struggle. Now, affirmations, they affirm who we are. So it is really fun to read the ones that, are really powerful for us. I know that I am really strong. There's never been any point in my life where I've questioned my strength. I am physically strong. I am mentally strong. I am emotionally strong. I'm a rock. It's my personality type. It's just who I am. Right? I really am. I don't know if you've heard of those personality types. I am. I don't really kind of show it when I'm upset, and I don't show it when I'm in pain, and I have a really high pain threshold. I always did, both physical and emotional pain. So I'm very strong. So I can sit here and read affirmations about strength. I am strong, I am powerful, I am motivated, my faith is strong, I have strong values, I'm a fighter, I'll fight for my dreams. I can read those affirmations and feel really, really great about it. I get, excited, and my heart beats, and I want to, fist pump, right, because I'm in Jersey, so I want to, fist pump and get all pumped up about it. So, but then there's other ones that are kind of hard. Maybe I'm going through a day where joy wasn't always a big part of my life, right? At points in my life, I've been depressed, and, at points in my life, I still struggle with that. So there are days where, things aren't going well. Joy is really hard for me. And those days, those affirmations, they may not feel great, but the truth is that those are the ones I'm going to benefit the most from. And in those days, I'm reading from our book. I was reading from Strength too. I'm reading from Joy. Is I choose to be joyful. I am joyful. I choose my emotions. I see the good in all situations. Joy is powerful. Joy is a game changer. I share joy with others. I find joy in others. I find joy in my surroundings. I create joy in my life, right? My joy is limitless. There's days where those things don't really feel well, but there's days where our situation is constantly changing. If you are seeking after everything in life, if you're an entrepreneur, you have, you want to have a family, you want to have a great job, a great business, if you want to do amazing things, maybe like me, you have a hobby like running, you're doing a lot, and sometimes things are not going to work. That's just part of really stretching yourself. If everything's working, shame on you. Go do more, because you should be messing up. Otherwise, you're not doing enough. So when those things happen, what's important is we have a place to go to. And those things are always going to be different. So, one day I'm going to be running a marathon, and maybe I won't finish. Thank goodness it hasn't happened yet, but it could. And, maybe there's days I need to read about determination. Or maybe before my marathon, I want to read affirmations about determination. Or maybe there's times when I'm going to be doing a podcast, and I am thinking, okay, you know what? Excuse me, guys. Losing my voice, but sharing a story about in the past crying and not going to a birthday party. Maybe I need to read about vulnerability before doing that. Or maybe days when I have a bill that looks like I may not be able to pay it. Maybe I want to read about money those days and read those affirmations. And that's what this book is about. It's about giving you the affirmations that you require in all situations. So, we have 50 different topics. Abundance, authenticity, beauty, belief, blessing, certainty, change, clarity, commitment, confidence. I'm not going to read all of them, but those are just the beginning ones. And we have 20 affirmations on each page. So no matter what's going on in your life, you can take this book and you can find a topic that relates to you and open it up. And you can have 20 affirmations there to look in the mirror, read out loud, and just affirm who you are. And that's the most powerful part of using affirmations, is that you get to choose who you are, who you get to be, how you get to show up by using them. So it's just an absolute amazing tool. Priced at only $6. You can get it right on Amazon. It's called Affirmations On Demand. If you look it up, it'll be there. So it's just a really powerful tool. We urge you, everyone, to get it, because it's just really, I think it's going to be a game changer for us. And if you don't have our initial product, our affirmation and gratitude journal, you can find that online as well. I also really just, and find it on our website. You can't find it on Amazon, changingmindsonline.com. We'll link you to it. They are both really powerful resources if you want to start using affirmations to change your life in a really big way.
Wow, Jessica, that was powerful, my friend. That was powerful. And, you know, if something that we said today resonated with you, please find our podcast on Changing Minds Online, as well as on iTunes, Stitcher, Tuned In, and, of course, our YouTube channel. We would love to know your thoughts, and we would love to see what you would like to see on our show as well. So, Jessica, do you have any closing words tonight?
No, that's it. I mean, we always close our call the same way. We just let you know we love you. We do this for you. Just God bless you. Make it a really powerful week. And we are excited to be with you this Thursday for our Empowering Women series. We do have a call this Thursday, right, Akina? I have our schedule right this week, right?
Yes.
Yes. I know last week but we do have a call. So on this Thursday, so we're really excited about it. I just want to make a quick housekeeping announcement. We just want to make sure everybody who listens, who does call in live and listens every week, we have a number of you who call in and listen live. Our podcast we are changing times, and we're adding another call, which is really exciting. So we're going to be doing our calls at 8 p.m. Eastern Time next year rather than 9 p.m. That starts January 1st or whenever the first call is in January. And we're going to be doing 3 calls, which is super exciting. Our Sunday night call, which was typically our inspirational call, that call is going to be kind of getting a little kind of facelift. So that call will be on Tuesday nights. It will be our Empowering Mindset call. Our Empowering Women call. Women's call will stay the same on Thursday nights. It'll be at 8 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're adding a third call, an empowering call, and that will be on our Sunday nights at 8 p.m. But that'll be kind of replacing our inspirational call, and then we'll have our empowering mindset call as well. We have amazing guests lined up for you. Akina and I have been working diligently the last few weeks to book the new year. We have a lot of really cool people coming on. So we are super, super excited. If you haven't already, go on to changingmindsonline.com. You can join our mailing list. We'll give you a free ebook as well for doing that, and you can stay up to date on what our shows are going to be for the next year. So that's it, everyone. God bless and make it a really, really great week.
Good night, everyone.